All right, I am back with a brand new DCEU update. I promised this video yesterday, but we were celebrating my daughter's birthday yesterday, and I was not able to get away to be able to do the video. So I'm also a little bit under the weather. There's been a sickness going around our household, and I think I finally caught it today. I'm taking zinc to make sure that this does not become full-blown, but I digress. I'm going to try to get through this without coughing. But let's talk about my predictions for the future of the DCEU. And I want to bookmark this video, and I want to come back to this in 3 or 4 years because I have a feeling everything I'm about to talk about today is going to happen. So today's video is going to contain some spoilers from Black Adam. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't want to know anything about Black Adam, you might want to check out and come back to this after you have actually seen the movie. You can actually bookmark videos to watch later, and I would recommend doing that. So first of all, we all know that Superman is back. All right, Henry Cavill is back and is going to be Superman going forward. There were a lot of reports last week that they are working on a Man of Steel sequel, whether it's called Superman, Man of Steel 2, or something else. Boss Logic even put some art out there using the S symbol as the 2. There's some pretty cool things. Everybody knows that another Man of Steel movie is being written and is going to be fast-tracked. So that is happening because of Black Adam, and this is directly because of the involvement of Henry Cavill and The Rock's, agent, and trying to work on this for the past 6 years. Now, my last video talked about a lot of the angry Snyder fans out there. There is a faction of Snyder fans that refuse to go see the movie, which is going to ruin this film. Now, real quick, let's talk about how much money the film made over the weekend and how this is going to help in the future. Now, I was hoping for an 80-plus million opening here in the U.S., but that was wishful thinking. The people who estimate this stuff figured that it was going to make about 60 million here in the U.S. It actually made 67 million, and it made a total of 140 million worldwide. So it made more overseas in all the different countries than it did here in the U.S., which is still The Rock's biggest opening as a leading man. And they are now predicting that this film is going to double the profits or double as much money as Shazam made. And Shazam was a pretty fun movie. I really enjoy that movie. I think for the character, I think they did a good job with that film. Obviously, Black Adam's a whole different take. But this is boding well for the future. This movie is definitely going to make a profit, which is something that Warner Brothers Discovery needed to be able to move the needle forward. Now, the one thing that the Black Adam film did was it brought everything together. It showed that everything in the past matters, and that everything that's been happening over the last couple of years matters, and that everything moving forward is going to matter by bringing Henry Cavill back. We did have a cameo by the girl who was the head of the team in Peacemaker. She was in the film. She is kind of Amanda Waller's right-hand man, and she was in the film. So he is going to show that everything is connected. And the boy in the movie did not have any heroes on his wall that we don't know about as of yet. I think the only big discrepancy in the story is that, with Superman being introduced, that was supposedly the first sighting of a metahuman on Earth and the first true sign of aliens, but yet we've had the JSA, but they weren't really, as far as we know, none of them are aliens. But so maybe that still stands, that Superman was the first alien on Earth. Who knows? Well, there's been Green Lanterns, obviously. Zack Snyder's Justice League showed that we did have a fight on Earth years ago, but current man, knowing anything about any type of alien was supposedly first experienced in Man of Steel. Although we had what they did in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we did have Martian Manhunter there the whole time, which is pretty cool to go back and watch that, knowing who he was going to be. So let's talk about what is happening moving forward. First of all, they introduced magic in this film, which we haven't seen yet. And the magic in this film was, Dr. Fate. And I'm not a big Brosnan fan, never have been, but I loved him in the role as Dr. Fate. I think he did a fantastic job. And if you notice at the end of the film that the mask actually dissolved and went away, and one of the screenwriters or one of the directors, I don't remember who it was, I saw an article the other day where they said this is not going to be the last time we're going to see Dr. Fate. So he is going to be coming back. Now, whether it's Pierce Brosnan or somebody new, I have a feeling it's going to be somebody new. We are going to have magic very much a part of the DCEU going forward. And here are my predictions and what I see happening here in the future. We also know that Ben Affleck is back. Now, Ben Affleck, or Batman in the comic books in DC Comics, has a big role to play in regards to magic. And the very first project that was announced by Warner Brothers Discovery, outside of the movies that were already being produced, was Constantine 2. I am now fully convinced that that is going to be a part of the DCEU, and that they are going to be bringing in Keanu Reeves to be Constantine moving forward, which would actually make the first Constantine movie the very first DCEU film. I do believe they're bringing him back, and I think bringing Ben Affleck back as Batman is a brilliant move. I do believe we're also going to get Snyder back here in the future. Now, people need to understand that Snyder is tied up for the next 2 to 3 years. He has an exclusive contract with Netflix. He cannot work with Warner Brothers Discovery, but that does not mean he isn't working on stuff behind the scenes. And in fact, last November, he did post a video showing that he was working on something dealing with the story of Final Crisis in his Thanksgiving video. So I still think that is on the table. There is an end game here. Warner Brothers Discovery talked about a 10-year plan with not just these characters, but just a 10-year plan moving forward with DC and getting things, leading to a pretty cool event, basically. I do think he is going to be back after his contract with Netflix is up. He loves these characters. I think he will be back. And James Earl Haley, who played in The Watchmen, Rorschach, he is championing for Zack Snyder to come back and do Man of Steel 2. I would prefer actually to watch Zack Snyder do a Batman film. That warehouse sequence, no matter what you say, that warehouse sequence in Batman vs. Superman is the coolest scene in any DCEU film that has been made so far. It's pretty phenomenal. And that's coming from a massive Batman fan, especially when I found out most of that was filmed practically, not with CGI, which is pretty freaking amazing. I would like to see him do a Batman film. But what I believe that they're leading to here is we're going to have the DCU move forward with the characters we already have, and they're introducing more. We've got Blue Beetle coming in, which is going to be a theatrical release next year. And we had a little bit of the JSA in this film, which could also lead into an introduction to an old, a past Green Lantern. We'll find out what they're going to do with that going forward, but we are definitely going to see Hawkman again. And at the end of Justice League, we did have Bruce show that the table was open for more heroes to come into the universe. And I think that's what we're seeing right now is they're going to be building out the universe. The people got upset with The Rock saying this is phase 1 of moving forward. And I do believe what he means by that is they are laying the groundwork to move forward and have a more cohesive one universe going forward, not forgetting anything in the past. As of yet, we need to see which Justice League is going to be canon, but I do believe it is going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League because I don't think we are going to miss out on Darkseid coming back. We don't know how far out he is. It could take 5-10 years for him to show up on Earth. So they've got time. They don't have to rush that story, and that's why I believe that Zack will be back when he is done with Netflix to finish out, and I do think they're going to do a Final Crisis event. And I think we're going to end up having a huge group of superheroes involved with this because where I think they're leading with Batman, with Constantine, and with Dr. Fate and magic being introduced is I do believe we're going to see a Justice League dark film. I think all of the signs point to that. I read a little bit about this over the past week, and I do believe that we are moving towards a big crisis event and that Justice League Dark will be a part of this, the JSA will be a part of it, and the Justice League will be a part of it, and that they're just going to continue to grow this universe out from here. But at the heart of it is going to be the Trinity, and I do believe we're going to see a Trinity film. Supposedly, the villain for Wonder Woman 3 is Cersei, and I think that is that's another way to push this whole thing forward and have the big three have their own Trinity film with Wonder Woman 3. I think that would go gangbusters at the theater and push on from there, and then that could lead to these different groups like what they've done in DC over the last 5 to 10 years. So Batman is the head of Justice League Dark, and it would be interesting to see Superman head up the Justice League and Batman kind of be a go-between for all of the factions, but to bring it all together for a big event in the future. So those are my predictions. I really think we're going to see this flesh out over the next 5 years. I will be here covering everything, and I'm excited to see Ben Affleck back. I'm excited to see Henry Cavill back and where we're going to go with these characters moving forward. I think for those holding back and not seeing Black Adam, that is going to just do nothing but hurt the franchise. I think we all need to support this film. I will be going back for my third viewing, and I know I will see it at least a fourth time as well. I really enjoyed this movie. There are 3 films I really liked this year, and you can go see my reviews on these other movies. I don't know if I did a review on Top Gun. Maybe I did. I can't remember, honestly. But my favorite films this year were Top Gun Maverick, Bullet Train, which was phenomenal, and Black Adam. I really liked Black Adam a lot. So those are my top 3 films of the year. And it was great to see a DC film, be at the top of that list. Granted, there hasn't been a lot that has been released this year, but we have a lot to look forward to next year. 4 films are getting released. 4 that are all going through some fixes right now to make sure they are polished up and ready to go to move this needle forward and to lay that groundwork for what is going to come after that. So we know at least after that we do have Constantine 2, and we do have the next Man of Steel film, and we're going to see what else they introduce going forward. I think The Flash is going to be a pretty fun time. Now, let me quickly address the whole Flash thing. It has been rumored, and I don't think this is a rumor at this stage, that Ezra Miller is going to be recast after the Flash film gets released. I think they're going to do Damage Control until it gets released, and then they will announce a new actor. I forget the actor's name. He was in one of these war films that I really liked last year. There's somebody I believe that they're eyeing to replace Ezra Miller as the Flash moving forward, and I think that's for the best. There is a real possibility that he may be going to prison for 26 years. We don't know how that trial is going to pan out, but I can tell you Warner Brothers is going to be ready to pounce one way or another, whether I think he's gone regardless, to be honest with you. I think they're going to wash their hands of Ezra Miller, and they are going to fix that as well. The other thing people are wondering about is Ray Fisher. I fully expect, and here's a big prediction, I do fully expect Ray Fisher to be back. He did comment last week, and you can go find his comments like on Vero, where he said basically the old regime is gone and that he hopes to never see their likes again. And so the pathway has been open for him to come back. He has been adamant that he would never come back with those people there, and they are now all finally gone, and they have the right people in place at Warner Brothers Discovery to bring him back. So I fully expect Ray Fisher to be back as Cyborg. These are all my predictions. Whether they come true or not will remain to be seen, but this is what I am seeing with everything I'm reading and seeing out there. I do believe this is where they are headed, and that is going to lead to a lot of awesomeness moving forward with the DCEU. I will be covering it all, so stick to my channel. I appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.